from you. And the experience is rolling on. Look. Former Major League pitcher Estaban Loiaza. Did you hear about this story? He was arrested Saturday in San Diego and charged with felony kingpin drug charges. He's a kingpin. Details were a little bit sketchy. I'm still trying to figure out, exactly what happened. How'd you get popped? I still haven't figured out. Is it 20 keys of coke or heroin? The facts, people. That's what I'm looking for. The facts here. .46-year-old right-handed pitcher had a 14-year career for the Pirates, Rangers, Blue Jays, White Sox, Yankees, Nats, A's, and Dodgers. He's scheduled to be on court on Wednesday, facing felony drug charges. Bail has been set at $200 large. Oh my God. Dude got popped with 20 keys of dope and coke. Two-time All-Star, finished second in Cy Young voting in 2003. And he made $43.7 million as a pro. And literally, he was just at Sox Fest in Chicago last week signing autographs. Unbelievable. He is charged with a felony possession of more than 44 pounds of drugs and 2 felony counts of transporting narcotics with the intent to distribute. Now, I told you, his bail is set at $2,000 large, and there's questions surrounding the fact that this former Major League pitcher, he might not even have the money to bail himself out. Now, Univision, the Spanish channel, television channel, they note that he was married to former singer Jenny Rivera, who was in the process of divorcing him in part due to financial impropriety. However, she died a few months ago after filing in a plane crash in Mexico. Second winningest Mexican pitcher in baseball history. Finished his career with a record of 126 and 111 with a 4.65 ERA in 377 games. So he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. Estaban Loiaza. What are you doing? It amazes me when these pro athletes, just retire in the game and start dealing drugs. Bam Morris, Esteban Loiaza. I don't get it. You made $47.5 million in your career. That's amazing. Now, look, another crazy story. Reports surfaced last Thursday about Pittsburgh Pirates' Elias Diaz. His mother, 17-year-old Annabelle Soto, being kidnapped in his home country of Venezuela. Now, with the Venezuela government, it's very hard to get information out of that country sometime. I had to do a lot of digging on this story. I was fascinated by it. Now, late Sunday evening, there was good word that came from an independent Venezuelan newspaper that Soto was rescued. 6 people, including 5 police officers, had been arrested in connection with the kidnapping. And the amazing thing about this story is that one of the ringleaders was not only a family member, but a next-door neighbor. And he was a cop. I mean, what's going on in that country? That's crazy. Next-door neighbor, family, cop, ringleader. Grabbing 17-year-old ladies and throwing them in the back of a van. Real fucking nice, dude. Real nice. I'm sure you wouldn't like that if somebody did that to your 72-year-old mom. You'd probably have a fucking problem with that, right? What's wrong with people? And apparently that next door neighbor, he provided all the inside details about how this was going to go down. He is the ringleader. Family. My God. I mean, you know, Elias Diaz's mom, Miss Soto, she's out front of her yard, minding her business, talking to the next door neighbors. I hope it wasn't the same neighbors. Dudes come out, they're brandishing guns. They grab her, they throw her in the back of the van. I mean, just awful. Well, they rescued her. Venezuela State Governor Omar Pietro said that Soto had been rescued in a collaborative effort by judicial police, state police, and privately contracted security officers. Governor Prieto took to the Twitter and has ordered state police to investigate and an anti-drug team for their involvement in the kidnapping. And this isn't like something new that's just happening. MLB, the teams, individual teams, and the league itself, they've warned players when visiting that Venezuela. I mean, there's an acute economic crisis going on in Venezuela right now. You think our economy's bad. You should see theirs. It's awful. And it's left a lot of people desperate, willing to do anything. Obviously. Look at this. 72-year-old ladies. What's wrong with you? And then, you know, is there anybody around when this happens? You just let a man jump out of a car and grab a 72-year-old lady? Man, my God. And these big salaries, they make them targets in a country with a homicide rate at 14 times the global average. It's a dangerous place, people. Let's not forget, 2011, then Nats catcher Wilson Ramos, right? He was kidnapped. Those perpetrators were caught and they were sentenced to 20 years in prison. 2009, Rockies catcher Jorvi Torrealba. His 11-year-old son was kidnapped. He was later rescued. Venezuela, I mean, it's just spiraling out of control. Under the socialist regime of Nicolas Maduro, the successor to Hugo Chavez. And like I said, it's not a new problem. Remember Uguet Urbina? He had 6 fingers on one hand. He was once kidnapped there. Slugger Carlos Cargo. He was robbed at gunpoint there in his rookie year. It's not a good place for major league players who have unlimited bank accounts to be. Get out. It's become, kidnapping. It's become such a problem there that the Venezuela government has set up a counter-kidnapping commission. And they basically approved a law that calls for jail time of no less than 30 years for perpetrators of these actions. And it's not just the players and their families. It's even like baseball scouts that go down there. One scout was stuck on the side of the road. He's fixing a flat tire in his car. A police rolls up on him and basically tells him, "Give me everything you got or I'm taking your ass to jail, gringo." And like I said, it's really hard to get information out of Venezuela. I had to do a lot of digging on this. K-Rod, he erected a military-like compound in his country. And he's our armed guards and a security force to protect his family 24 hours a day. I mean, what kind of life is that? That's some Don Corleone shit. It's not going to stop the scouts from going there, though. I mean, it's such a baseball-rich country. It's second to only the Dominican Republic among foreign countries producing major league talent. As of last year, Major League Baseball provides armed security for players with concerns. So just an awful story, but at least it ended good. I'm so glad to hear that Miss Soto and her son, Elias Diaz, the backup catcher to the Pittsburgh Pirates, I'm glad your mother is alive and safe, and for God's sakes, man, just bring her to this country. Not that it's, not that this country's perfect, but, I mean, you just need one less thing to worry about than having your mother kidnapped because you're a baseball player. For God's sakes. You're listening to the Jake Robinson Sports Experience live on the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. I'm the incomparable, the unstoppable, always imitated, never quite duplicated Jake the Snake. Half man, half podcast machine. I got your hookup. Holler if you hear me. Now, look, there wasn't really much to talk about this week, so I figured I would at least talk about a baseball team or two. I'm going to dig into the Atlanta Braves a little bit. I have not talked about the Braves yet on this show. And I'm kind of fascinated with the Braves this year. I'm really interested in seeing this because, let's be honest, this is year 4 of the rebuild. And, they've spent, the last years under 500. And I don't think it's unreasonable to expect, as a Braves fan, that team go 500 this year. It's now time to see some of these youngsters come to fruition. Now, last year they were third place, 72-90 in the NL East. They got one of the best farms in baseball. And like I said, this is year 4 of the rebuild. And of course, when you look at that team, you think of all those young players, Dansby Swanson, that's the one. Who are you? I mean, are you ever going to meet expectations, or are you going to continue to struggle? And it's one thing if you're not hitting 260, 270, or like they projected you to be a 300 hitter. And if you're not doing that, you better be, catching the ball in the field. And you're not doing that either. I mean, errors everywhere. So this is a make or break for him right here, this year. Hype or hope? Now, when I look at the Atlanta Braves, I think the most intriguing battle going into spring training will center around the final spots of that rotation. And, of course, there's a couple question marks in that bully. Everyone is just so young. They have a few, positions where, they're pretty solidified right there. Yeah, look at first base, right field, and catcher. They have 2 really good catchers, and Tyler Flowers and Kurt Suzuki. Now, between the 2 of those guys, they might have almost put up almost 30 home runs last year. So that is definitely a strength. Maybe at some point they trade one of those guys this year, but as of right now, those 2 catchers, that's a definitive strength for the Atlanta Braves. They got steady Freddie Freeman at first base. He underwent LASIK eye surgery in the offseason. The question is, has he regained strength in his left wrist, which he fractured last May? And I'm looking at Freddie Freeman, and I'm thinking,